Welcome back to American Circus. On today's episode, we're taking a look at perspectives. I think it's interesting how changing your viewpoint can make all the difference in a situation. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
The story of the Chinese farmer, you ever seen that? Where he loses his horse and everybody in the town comes over and they say, oh, well, that's terrible. And he's like, maybe. And then the next day, 7 wild horses come back and they all come over and they say, oh, well, that's great. And he says, well, maybe. And the next day, his kid is taking out one of the wild horses and breaks his leg. And the whole town comes over and they say, oh, that's terrible now, isn't it? He says, maybe. The next day, the conscription officers come over. They're taking people into the military to go fight. And they pass by his son because he's got a broken leg. And the whole town comes over and they say, oh, that's great now, isn't it? He says, maybe. And the point of it is that you never really know if something is bad or good because you don't know how that's going to affect the rest of your life.
Life is a lot like a chess game, but unlike chess, moves of life are innumerable. One single decision can have so many different consequences, it's hard to determine what could happen. We're all connected in certain ways, but it's hard to remember that sometimes we can feel isolated.
Where do you draw the line between a sexual invitation and harassment? Well, like a cynic would say, anything unwanted is harassment. Well, how the hell is the person who's making the offer supposed to determine that beforehand?
Yeah, you make the offer or the invitation in part to find out
whether
if
it's welcome.
wanted.
Yes, and the terrible thing about that in part is that it's almost always men who do that, right? Men make the offer. And almost always it's rejected, and it's almost always rejected even by women who might be interested under some circumstances.
Yeah.
Now, the reason for that, as far as I can tell, is that women bear a much heavier price for sexual activity than men do. So they're the ones that are going to say no. The problem is that we need to know exactly where the rules are, and we don't.
Sometimes in life we can feel like we're walking in a desert, wandering aimlessly without any hope. But keep going. Oftentimes, the desert is preparing you for something better.
They say that true hell is when the person that you are meets the person you could have been.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
Yeah, that caffeine's kicking in.
That's good, though.
As we walk down the road of life, it's important that we take advantage of the opportunities that come to us. After all, not every opportunity is the same, and not every opportunity will come twice.